So Monique files for divorce from her husband Chris. I hate these stories. I really do not like talking about these stories. I hate divorce. I mean, I felt so disheartened. That's gonna be my new word. Yesterday. And you know what it is for me? It's the kids. Granted, yes, kids, it's better to be in a healthy single mother home, a home with a mom, because to me, a divorced mom is not a single mom. Uh, it's the kids for me, y'all. It's the kids because I have an 8-year old, and my husband was working from home for 3 years for COVID. My husband just started going back to the office for 3 days out of the week, 2 to 3 days. Do y'all know my little boy will not go to sleep until Mike comes home? Little Michael will not go to sleep. Give him his bath. We're in the bed. We're watching our Bible story. We prayed, and we're just waiting for Daddy to come home. So when divorce takes place, and the kids are little, like to me, teenagers they can really understand. But a baby that's 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, they don't understand. And I'm amazed at the number of people who say, "Oh, child, what took them long? That took them a long time." I'm just kind of shocked. Granted, when I watched them on the first the show, I had to stop watching because I'm like, I don't know if they gonna make it. And I know y'all message me all the time about reviewing these shows, but for me, it's just so hard to talk about somebody else's marriage. There's a difference when a couple is getting a divorce, then you can talk about, but a marriage is a covenant. And this is why I am against putting your marriage on TV for everybody to see your problems and for everybody to comment about your marriage. I'm against it. I don't like it. And married at first sight is different because the couple is deciding if they're trying to stay married. That's why once the couple decide to stay married, you don't hear me talk about them. The only time I'll talk about them is if they're having a baby, they bought a house, or they're getting a divorce. But you will not hear me talk about them, the married after. Go through my videos. You can't find it because I believe once a couple is married, that's it. Take your mouth off of them. Don't talk about their problems. That's a covenant, and they're supposed to be working it out together. That's why it's hard for me to review these Real Housewives shows. And I know you guys messaged me. I've tried Love and Marriage Huntsville. Them people got so many problems. I've tried Married to Medicine. I love Married to Medicine. I do watch it on the back end, but I can't review it because I just don't. It's hard to talk about somebody else's marriage. And I'm looking for another show to review because Married at First Sight is getting on my nerves. And I saw Love and Marriage Chicago, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to try to watch this because that show looks so scandalous. But it's very hard for me. It's very hard. And it's like nobody was surprised except for me that this couple is getting a divorce. And I guess because I stopped watching. I stopped watching, so I wasn't keeping up. But I did hear she say, I was reading some of the comments, that she said Love and Marriage DC, that was her crying out for help. I'm trying to understand If you're crying out for help for your marriage, why are you on TV? Why don't you go sit with a marriage counselor and y'all work your marriage out? Because if you're crying for help, you don't shine the light and bring the cameras in so we can all see. You go sit in secret with the marriage counselor and try to make it work. That's how crying out for help and getting help. Because who's going to help you? The fans are doing nothing other than talking about you and talking about your marriage and seeing all the cracks and sitting down waiting. And everybody was like, oh, child, that took them long enough. And remember a few months ago when it came out they were separated, they went do this big, oh, we together, we love each other. And now look. Hey, y'all, did I say it? So this stuff be disturbing my spirit. Let me tell you about marriage. Marriage is a covenant. This is why you cannot just marry anybody. You cannot just see a man and get married. That's why there's so many marriages ending in divorce, because at the core, y'all don't work. You're just attracted to each other. The D is good, the kitty is good, y'all get married. That's not a reason to get married. It's a contract. It's looking at, if Verizon was buying AT&T, they're not just going to go buy him. They're looking at all their books. They're digging deep in the nitty gritty and all of those things. It's the same thing for marriage. And we already know the mama was against them and said she's just there for the money. And sure enough, child, she stayed enough time to get all that she's supposed to get. 10 years. Up here is 10 years. You know, the interesting thing about the Bible, we love to talk about wives. Ephesians chapter 5. Wives, submit to your own husbands. We love to talk about that, right? But we never talk about the scripture before that. We never talk about Ephesians 5, verse 21. Let's start at verse 20. Giving thanks always for all things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Verse 21. You're not going to believe what verse 21 says. Verse 21 says, submitting yourselves to one another in the fear of God. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. In other words, before a couple is husband and wife, we're brothers and sisters in the Lord. And we need to what? Submit ourselves to each other. I'm not talking about them now. I'm just talking about marriage, okay? So before we get to wives, submit to your husband, the Apostle Paul says, as brothers and sisters in the Lord, we submit to each other. So you know what that means? Proverbs 24:10, I believe, says, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So in other words, you need counselors and you need someone you can submit to. So one of the questions my dad said to ask a man is, who can I talk to about you? What man can I talk to about you? If I'm having problems with you, who can I call to talk to about you? I shared before how my husband was helping out financially with an extended family, and 3 months went to 2 years. And I'm all about helping family out, but there needs to be a plan of, okay, here it is. You're able to walk. Okay. I say, you know what? I'm going down to the church. My church is actually down, okay? I'm gonna go down to the church, talk to the pastor. Our pastor is my husband's frat brother and his pastor, his older frat brother. My husband said, no, 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 no. No, no, no. Please don't do that. We went to the marriage counselor and he gave him a plan to follow, to work through, to wean off that situation. So who can I talk to about? Can we submit to each? You want to get married? Can we submit to each other? If we're having problems, can we go to the marriage counselor and work this thing out? Because to me, other than abuse, adultery, and abandonment, we know there ain't no abandonment in this marriage. We don't know about abuse or adultery. To me, you can work anything that comes up in a marriage, you can work it out. And this is why I believe married couples should have continual counseling, because you're going to continually have things to come up that you might not be able to work through by yourselves. And you need to go sit down with the marriage counselor and work it out and submit to the marriage counselor or to your pastor. Somebody that I can call our marriage counselor and say, Doc, this is what's going on. Mike can call my marriage counselor. He called the marriage counselor on me one time. I couldn't believe it. I could believe it. I could not believe my husband called our marriage counselor on me, Janice Hylton. But he did. And I had did something wrong, and we had to sit down and talk about it. I don't remember what it is because, I'm like the perfect wife. And so one of our main things, so for example, me and my husband, is communication. We got communication problems. Now, you would think we're two great communicators that we would learn, we would know to communicate. I'm an author. My husband's in marketing. He went on a job interview one time, and lady said, I was going to ask you some communication questions, but you sound like Barack Obama. So I'm not going to ask you those questions. And he said he thought to himself, why in his mind, he thought a black man can't speak well or, sound like Barack. Does my husband sound like, if you hear my husband, you think it's Barack. He doesn't have Barack voice, but that's my husband. My husband don't speak Ebonics. When my husband speaks Ebonics, I laugh at him because I'm like, say it again. He's well spoken. And so when we got married, my husband travels, and when he traveled, I didn't like the communication. Like I would talk to him at lunchtime, and then the next time I talk to him at 10 o'clock, he's in Texas. And I'm like, well, what? So went to the marriage counselor, and he says, okay, Mike, this is what you're going to do. You're a marketer. You're in marketing. So your job is to solve problems. So you're going to Texas, Canada, wherever. You're going to solve the problem. You want to come back home. He said, Janice cannot get on that plane with you every time you're going. Once in a while, we'll travel with him because she's home with the babies and home and stuff. He said, you need to take her along with you. I'm taught, listen, y'all, this is what submitting to a counselor is. I'm going to write something up for you to do. And the marriage counselor typed it up. He said, when you're leaving the office, you need to text her. Janice, baby, I'm leaving the office. I will text you when I get to the airport. My doctor says, you're on the road, you're traveling. You need to make sure she's feeling okay about your safety and that everything is okay. So when you leave your office, when you get in your car, the car that's picking you up, text her. I'm in the car. I'm going to the airport. I'll text you when I get to the airport. When you get to the airport, text her. Got to the airport, I'll text you when I get to my gate. He gets to the gate, call her. Call, hey, babe, how you doing? I'm at the gate. I'm gonna eat something. I'll text you when I'm taking off. When you get on the plane and the plane is taking off, text her. Hey, we're taking off, and I'm gonna text you when we land. Hey, plane land. I'm going to luggage, and I'll text you when I get in the taxi. Hey, I'm in the taxi. I'll call you when I get to the hotel. Now, the marriage counselor said, when you get to the hotel, turn the camera on. Before that, the marriage counselor said, the minute you get your itinerary, you need to forward it to Janice. So Janice knows where you're going. She needs to have the hotel. She needs to have the room number and the phone number. So one time, this is last year, my husband was going to Canada. And I'm in New Jersey. Canada is just right up the street. So, okay, babe, I'm going to Canada. Okay, I love it. Call me. So he texts me, I'm at the hotel. I'm at the airport. We're taking off. I'm like, okay. 3 hours later, he called me, babe, we landed. I said, you got to Canada already? Oh my God, that was so great. He's like, babe, I'm in Texas. I said, Texas? What you doing in Texas? He said, didn't you read the itinerary? I was like, no, I ain't read it. I'm like, you go from New Jersey to Texas to go to Canada. However they worked it out, that's the way they worked it out. But anyways, my point is, when you have a marriage, you need a counselor to keep you going, to help you with whatever things that come up. That is submitting yourself to your marriage counselor, to your pastor, to your husband, to your wife, so y'all could work this thing out. This is if you really got married to stay together, not if you're looking for excuses to leave the marriage. I'm just speaking in general. I'm not talking about the couple. I'm just saying in general. Like, I love my husband and I know he loves, and I want us to be together until the day we return to the Lord. So we're going to do whatever we need to do to stay together and to be here for these children, because our children deserves a happy, peaceful home life, childhood, so that when they get adults, they don't have all this trauma they have to work through because mama and daddy divorced and split up and I hate divorce. And I know divorce happens sometimes. Life happens. I hate divorce, but I'm all for divorce, because you're not going to beat my ass and I'm going to sit there talking about the Lord's going to deliver me. The devil is a lie. I'm packing my bags, I'm grabbing my babies, and I'm running to the hills from whence cometh my help. And of course, we don't know what happened in people's marriages. We don't know why couples are getting divorced. Maybe you guys know because you watch the show. But at the end of the day, it is still a family being torn apart, and there are babies involved. I nursed my little boy until he was 5. So we're going to pray for this couple. It would be nice if they would go to couples counseling and work this thing out. Really work it, try to work it out. Because if there's no abuse, if there's no adultery, If both people submit themselves to each other and to a marriage counselor and say, I don't care if you have to see the marriage counselor every day. Listen, my marriage counselor, where's my phone? It's 7:48. I guarantee you, if I call him right now, he gonna answer the phone. I wouldn't, because he has his daughter's grown. She's like almost 30 now. So you need somebody that you can text. When it was our marriage council, our 10-year anniversary, I called him. I said, Mike says he's going to call you to set up an appointment. So I'm just letting you know. It's June 24th. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. And me and the marriage counselor, we laughed at it. We laughed at it because we already know it's going to be real. I'm going to have to keep reminding Mike, you need to call the marriage counselor, set up an appointment. We see our marriage counselor about 4 or 5 times a year. We need to call him. Matter of fact, I'm gonna remind him today, or I'll tell the marriage counselor, call him and say, bro, Mike, when you gonna come see me? Because one of the things we're working on is for Mike to pick up the phone and schedule an appointment and say, hey, doc, Janice and I, we're gonna come see you. Because either I'm the one that does it, or he'll text us and say, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, it's June and we've only had one session. So for me, if it's not abuse, abandonment, or adultery, especially a couple that name the name of Christ, submit yourselves to a marriage counselor and work this thing out. Work it out. And if you can't work it out for yourself, you work it out for these babies who is going to wake up in the night and daddy's not there, or mommy's not there, or now you have daddy's girlfriend or mommy's boyfriend. It's traumatic for children. And I just wish, I'm just talking in general, that couples, instead of running to a divorce lawyer, you run to your pastor, run to a marriage counselor. To me, divorce is like cancer. You don't just sit and let it fester. You run to the doctor to get you some help to save your life. I'm speaking in general now. All right, y'all. I'm going to go. The Husband Profile course begins in July. Sign up. Because you're not supposed to be getting married to any and everybody. Y'all could love each other and the sex could be good, but don't mean y'all supposed to be married. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Let me know what you think. Did you see the divorce coming? Are you surprised? Do you want them to try to work it out? This is a couple that got married later, right? They've been married 11 years. She's 39 and he's 45. It's not like Tia, who was with the man since she was 20. I love you. Bye.